Guys, what's going on? Welcome to Serial at Midnight. My name is Heath, and it is a banner day in the Serial at Midnight studios because we are talking about Ultraman on Blu-ray in North America. This is huge news. Mill Creek Entertainment has picked up the distribution rights in North America for basically the entire Ultraman franchise. We're starting it off with these first two releases. These are the two shows that started it all. Ultra Q and Ultraman from 1966. These are the Steelbook versions, and these are the standard versions. I'm going to show you both in this video. Full disclosure, Mill Creek sent us the Steelbook version so we could review on the channel. We bought these because we wanted to financially support Ultraman. We're just very excited about it. If you haven't been paying attention to serialatmidnight.com or our social media, we've been hyped about this since the very beginning. And every time news comes out from Mill Creek about future Ultraman releases, we are on top of it. So we aim to be your ground zero news source for Ultraman. Hey, they've already announced the next three box sets. There's the third series, Ultra 7, is arriving in just a matter of weeks, as is two newer Ultraman shows from like the 50th anniversary, so just a few years back. So we're getting classic Ultraman at the same time that we're getting newer Ultraman. You guys, buckle up because we are about to be awash in kaiju. We're going to be wading through the monsters, and what a wonderful problem to have. These are on Blu-ray. These are high definition transfers that were done by, as far as I know, these were done by Tsuburaya Productions. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. The company that made these shows, the Ultraman company, Tsuburaya, they have done the high definition restorations of these. I should also point out that both series, and I think probably most of what we're going to get in the meantime, at least as far as I know, is in its original Japanese with English subtitles. So there's no Spanish subtitles, there's no English dialogue, English dub. We're looking at the original shows. I don't know if that has anything to do with the licensing deals. I'm not privy to that information, but I can tell you when I do watch things like this, I do prefer to watch the original language. I'm actually very happy with Japanese audio, English subtitles. Really, we're in it for the monsters, right? So it's cause for celebration. This Ultraman stuff hitting us. I think North America is about to get bombarded by more Ultraman than we have ever had before. I'm kind of new to Ultraman. See, I'm familiar with the character. I know the character from pop culture, from kaiju conventions, from going to, comic book conventions and things like that. But I've never done the mini series of work. So I am strapped in for this thing. I am in for the long haul. I'm so excited about discovering Ultraman. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the series because, of course, we're so excited about these additions, and we are going to, I'll roll B-roll footage over the, so I did B-roll footage of the Steelbook packaging because I know these are the more collectible, these are the limited collectible edition Steelbooks of the first two seasons. So I'll roll B-roll footage over that while I talk. But I did want to point out that the entire Ultra franchise is basically the work of Eiji Tsuburaya. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, but Mr. Tsuburaya was the co-creator and the special effects director of so many of the kaiju monsters and the classics that we think about from that original 50s and 60s era. Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra. He was the guy that was behind so many of those special effects. We're talking about like the miniature villages that the monsters would fight on, the little motorized tanks that would come up and shoot. All that was Eiji Tsuburaya. And so his company, Tsuburaya Productions, comes around in the early to mid 60s. He has kind of come out of Toho, which is the studio that that made Godzilla, and Toho is kind of very responsible for the kaiju boom as we think of it. But then he created his own company and really turned his eyes to television. Ultra Q, the first series that really started everything off, cost 3 times what other shows at the time of Japanese television cost. It was a huge deal. It was one of the most successful Japanese television series of all time. So Ultra Q is the first series, is 1966. Ultra Q it's a little bit different. It's a little bit in the Ultraman franchise. There is no Ultraman in Ultra Q. That's worth pointing out. It's more of a mystery series with tons and tons of gigantic monsters. So Ultra Q really has like these 3 investigators. They all come from different walks of life. Here, I'll actually show you. This is the standard edition. It's in the thicker clamshell case. 4 discs. What I like about we have more hubs than we need, which is, I'm okay with that. There's a code inside of each one. By the way, we're going to be giving away our codes on Instagram. If you follow Serial at Midnight on Instagram, we're going to give both of these codes, the Ultra Q code and the Ultraman code, to some lucky winners. So keep your eyes on Instagram for that contest, which we'll be announcing soon on Instagram. But there's a booklet that comes with each. It's in the Steelbook, and it's in the it's the wrong series. It's in the Steelbook and it's in the standard edition. And there's so much information packed into this, you guys. And so it's got a history. Here, I'll try to do this. It's got a history of the show itself, how it was born. All the stuff I'm telling you is what I learned through this book. It's also got episode guides, so it breaks down every episode, what the monster is, what the takeaway was, how it ended. It's very cool. Then it's got a monster guide, so you can keep track of the monsters. It's also got character profiles. These are the three main investigators I was talking about, and then they're like wizened. He's not a kung fu master, he's more like a science master. But these are our 3 main characters. They all come from different walks of life. I think one's a reporter, one's a pilot, one's like the wacky, plucky, comedic relief guy. And they are our Mulder and Scully, right? Investigating the paranormal. It's so funny because it's clearly influenced by Twilight Zone and Outer Limits. The beginning of every intro says, "For the next 30 minutes, your eyes will leave your body and arrive in this strange moment in time." I can't quite hear Rod Serling saying that, but almost. It's very, very Twilight Zone, right? For the next 30 minutes, your eyes will leave. It's very, very, it's chasing that clearly, right? Ultra Q, the Q stands for question. So it is, you know what? It also kind of reminds me of early Doctor Who. Talking about William Hartnell, first Doctor Who. And when we look at Doctor Who as a separate franchise, that's another one that it doesn't really, like if you look at later Doctor Who, the early Doctor Who is so different. That's Ultra Q. When we look at Ultraman as a whole, this is the anomaly. This is the thing that feels super different. Because Ultraman's not in Ultra Q. He's in Ultraman. So we've all gotten to look at this, right? This is a very cool set. 4 discs. It has about 7 episodes. 7 25-minute episodes on each Blu-ray. So great space usage. I'm completely happy with that. I see no visible compression. It really does. It's the best case scenario. It's what we had all hoped for. I'm not sure if these are new HD masters from Tsuburaya Productions. I have heard that maybe that Ultraman is an upscale. I do not know. That information has not been made public, so it's all just speculation at this point. I will say Ultra Q does look absolutely fantastic. It was shot on 35mm. The special effects shots obviously look a little bit less in quality because there's so much processing going on. Ultraman is in color. Ultra Q is in black and white. Ultraman is in color. And it does maybe seem a little bit more processed, but I suspect a lot of that comes from the fact that there's so much composition photography going on. I'll give you a peek at this box set as well. It's worth noting also that there are 3 different phases of the Ultraman, I'm going to call it armor, the costume, the outfit, during the course of the first series. So it starts out, he's got like a very molded looking head. It's kind of rough. It's symmetrical, but it looks hastily done. And reading the production information in the Ultraman booklet lets me know that it was hastily done because they literally just had a matter of weeks in between the series. Everybody was working like overtime. It was crammed, but you would never know it because the quality of what they achieved here is just really cool. So 3 different phases of the costume. By the end of the series, he looks like the Ultraman, I think we all know. But every episode essentially is Ultraman fighting a monster. The way they did it is actually kind of cool too, because they gave Ultraman a limitation by saying, by the way, this is 6 discs. Disc 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Again, about 7 episodes per disc, which is great. But they gave Ultraman some limitations so that he would be beatable, right? It's the Superman phenomenon. It's like, well, if he has no weaknesses, how do you beat him? So they gave Ultraman a 3-minute energy life. So once by the way, I should say that Ultraman is an alien. He crash lands from space and makes like a death deal with it, like a life debt kind of a thing. Not a Wookiee life debt, but a different kind of life debt with this pilot. And he's like, I was chasing this prisoner here and I have done this thing. Now I dedicate my life to you. When you need me to fight something, call upon me. That's kind of how they excuse Ultraman for being in this world. And so there's a guy with a little stick, and when he needs Ultraman, he calls him. Ultraman comes, but Ultraman only has 3 minutes before the batteries run down. And if the batteries run down, Ultraman will never walk again. So the stakes are there, but it's all just an excuse for basically a 3-minute monster fight at the end of every single episode, which always looks amazing, and the monsters are super cool. One thing that's really cool also is that because Tsuburaya had come from the Toho movie system, he had all these Toho connections, and you'll see recognizable monsters. You will see Godzilla in an Ultraman episode, but what they would do is they would just kind of doctor the costume a little bit. So we get Godzilla, but he's got a horn on his head or something like that, because they had access to all the Toho props, to all the miniatures, to all the props, all the costumes, all the suits, the puppets, things like that. So they would modify them a little bit and just reuse them. Very practical. I have absolutely loved learning about these shows via these books. There are no real on-disc special features. As mentioned, it's original Japanese dialogue, English subtitles. That's about it. That's what we're looking at. But these booklets are packed full of tons of behind the scenes information. Anything that we would want is in this book. So in the case of Ultra Q, we have the episode guides, we have the introduction, we have the monster guide, we have our character guide, we also have the technology guide. So it shows us they use the artificial sun satellite. Well, when did they do that? What is the artificial sun satellite? Really giving you information behind the scenes. And then the objects from some of the episodes, like the statue of Goga. It tells us all about that. And then the Ultraman episode actually it's got all the same stuff. It's got the background episode guides, and then what I love, you can see how things have been stepped up. 28 episodes of Ultra Q, 39 episodes of Ultraman. Reportedly, there's a lost episode in there somewhere that has never been put on home media because of some controversy. We have 39 episodes. But check this out. This is the monster guide, essentially, for Ultraman, for the first season of Ultraman. These are all the creatures from 39 episodes. It's like a new monster every single week. These are our main characters from Ultraman. It is the Super Science, I have it written down, the Science Space Search Party, the SSSP. And it's a team of people, and they're kind of like our paranormal chasers. They're keeping an eye. There's always these teams in anime and in these classic kaiju series. There's like these teams. What they exactly do, I'm not really sure. But they're a science team. It's like Gatchaman. You guys familiar with Gatchaman, G-Force? There's this teams, science teams. What do? Science. So, I don't know. I am just really, obviously you can tell, I'm really excited about this. As I told you, Mill Creek sent us the Steelbooks, and we bought the others because it was important to Bree and myself that we financially support these releases because they are super cool. I will tell you, at the time of this, by the way, Ultraman, the standard edition of Ultraman is going to make a mural when they're all done. Can you imagine having an Ultraman mural on your shelf that just tells like a multi-year, I don't even know how many volumes it's going to be. Dozens, I suspect, right? But this is the first two. I'm trying to get them lined up just perfectly. Get in there. They keep wanting to slip. Okay, we'll just do that. That's as good as I can do. I think the lighting might be a little bit better there. Anyway, we're going to have a mural. I also like the detail on the Steelbook. You guys saw on the B-roll footage that I showed. But the 1 and the 2 and then the monsters on the spines. I don't know that every series is going to get a Steelbook. I think maybe not. I think this is the focus. This is the collectible. But right now, as I'm making this video, very reasonably priced. These Ultraman Standard Edition sets are like $21, and then the Steelbooks are going for like $27, I want to say, which is, again, really reasonable. Now, I when I first started announcing this on Twitter, I showed, we've been hyping these up on social media, and someone said, are the discs stacked in the Steelbook? And the discs are stacked in the Steelbooks, but that's the nature of Steelbooks. I think anytime you're dealing with a anytime you're dealing with a multi-disc set in a Steelbook, you're going to get stacked discs because this is the real estate you're working with. I have Steelbook sets with multiple discs from Warner Brothers, from Universal, stacked discs. There's nowhere to put a swing tray in here. When this closes up, that's it. I mean, this is like, what is this, an inch? Probably less than an inch. I don't know. Real estate is tight, you guys. It's valuable space here. So I think they've done exactly what they should have done. I think they've done exactly what they had to do, which is stacking those discs. If you're careful, it's probably not going to be an issue. So I think that's going to do it for our Ultraman kickoff party. This is our Ultraman launch party video. We are so excited about it. As you can tell, we're just really hyped about exploring these, and I can't wait for what's coming next. I can't wait for the newer series. By the way, there's movies in the newer series I was talking about. There's movies, like theatrical movies, so they're giving us the entire series of that show plus the feature film, all on Blu-ray. So it's just really, really exciting. You guys, Ultraman is now available from Mill Creek Entertainment. Links will be in the description of this video. Anything that you need to know about these will be in the description of this video. If you pick them up, if you have any communication with Mill Creek Entertainment, tell them that Serial at Midnight sent you. We are so excited about these, and we want everybody to know what's happening with them. So guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Are you going to grab these Blu-rays, Steelbook? Are you going to grab the regular edition? Do you have previous experience with Ultraman? What's your favorite Ultraman series? Let's celebrate some kaiju in the comments below. Guys, thank you very much. Take care. And until next time, I will catch you later.